Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm a therapist here at Solid Foundations, and I'm here with your monthly therapy moment. The month of December can be very stressful for a multitude of reasons. A lot of people feel a lot of stress with busy schedules due to the holidays. A lot of people feel stressed buying everybody the right present and making everything absolutely go as smoothly and as magically as possible. However, a lot of things can complicate this time of year, one of them being grief. Grief is very complex. It's something that everybody experiences at one point in their life, whether that is relatively small or relatively big. It can be losing your job, it can be losing a loved one, it can be losing a pet, it can be the loss of a relationship that you're just not close to anymore. It can be a multitude of anything. Grief being so complex makes it even more magnified during the holidays because there's so much pressure to make sure that celebrations and traditions are going as strong as they always have been. So I'm here to help you with a few ways that you can hopefully get through your grief with a little bit more ease this holiday season. The first thing we want to do is we want to acknowledge that grief is real. That grief can show up in any way that it wants to. It can show up as rage, it can show up as exhaustion, it can show up as sadness, it can show up as loneliness. Any of these ways that it shows up is absolutely okay. We have to be able to sit with it. We don't want to fight it because the pressure to move on from it or feel like you just need to be happy or put on a performance just makes that feel a little bit more worse. The second thing that we can do is we want to pay attention to those traditions and those celebrations that we're holding on to so dearly. We want to ask ourselves, is it okay to create a new one, or can we adapt the old one that has always been there, just a little bit different? Some of these traditions bring up maybe painful memories of somebody that you lost, and sometimes that means that maybe we skip a tradition, and other times it means that we just create traditions with new people around us. Now, with changing these traditions, the third thing that we need to do is be able to set boundaries. Setting boundaries with our loved ones and also setting boundaries with ourselves. And that means that we have to be very honest with ourselves and what we feel like we can handle and what we feel like we don't want to handle. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you have to do something. So maybe that means setting boundaries with loved ones, that you'll go to a large social gathering, but you're only going to stay there for a limited amount of time. Or maybe when you're at that social gathering, you take some quiet time to yourself, stepping outside for some fresh air, stepping in another room where it's just a little bit more quiet. Maybe that means that you stay home. You wrap yourself up in a cozy blanket, you get a good book, and you lay on the couch, and that's how you're going to fill up your cup for the day. The fourth thing that we can do for ourselves is seek support, whether that is support from a friend or a family member, or maybe that's a good time to start therapy for the first time. We need people around us when we're feeling grief. Grief can be incredibly lonely, and it's something that nobody ever should or needs to go through by themselves. Now, if you feel like you're lacking some people in your support system, you can always reach out for some grief support groups. You can meet total strangers that are going through similar things as you, and you can share. You can just listen to each other. Now, seeking support doesn't have to mean that you're going to talk to people either. Seeking support can just mean you're going to sit in a room with each other and watch a movie together and just feel that other person's presence so that you don't have to be by yourself. Now, the last thing that we can do for ourselves is just take care of ourselves in whatever way that makes sense. If taking care of ourselves means we're going to stay 5 more minutes in our warm bed in the morning, then that's what we're going to do. If taking care of ourselves means that we're going to eat an extra dessert at dinner, then that's what we're going to do. Anything that we can do that makes ourselves feel good is what we really want to focus on, whether that is taking an hour out of your day to make sure that you get that activity in, or if it's taking 5 minutes out of our day to make sure that you get that activity in. Anything you can do to take care of yourself is going to be very important. Now, overall, doing all of these 5 things, we want to pay attention to how we talk ourselves through all of these things. Grief is nothing to feel shame about. Grief is nothing to try and push away. Grief is there, and grief can have a multitude of reasons or meanings that we give to it. And ultimately, the right meaning that we give to it is the one that helps us feel a little bit better at the end of the day. So whether it is you yourself going through grief this holiday season or a loved one, just pay closer attention and give everybody a little bit extra care to get through the holidays with a little bit more ease this year. Happy holidays.